because the watchword for Republicans going into the primary is chaos. You've
Yep.
got the primaries having been affected by redistricting. You've got Republican Party polling in bad shape. You've got Republicans losing ground with independents, with Gen Z, with Latinos. Trump's underwater in Texas in terms of approval. The Texas economy is in kind of grim shape. Employment has stalled. The percentage
Right.
of unemployed is basically the same as it is at the national level, which for a long time was not the way. Texas
Right.
had its own kind of strong economic path. It still to some degree does, but those things are eroding a little bit. All of the major characters, all the major statewide officials are essentially underwater in terms of approval. They're struggling to some degree, maybe more than we've seen in the past, but that doesn't mean they're going to lose these elections because there are a lot of them. And we'll talk about each of them as we go. But given that context, I want to get your thoughts on kind of the big picture about what's happening in Republican Party politics and what it means for the primary.
Well, it's midterm elections. We had this situation in 2018. Then we had the red tsunami that never was a tsunami eventually. And we're seeing that type of tectonic realignments within the Texas Republican Party, but also being significantly shaped by national politics and AKA by President Trump.
Great point.
So I think it's going to be very interesting to see, because in many of these races you have a very unique mix of candidates, right?
What does that mean?
A very unique
I like the way you
mix.
put that diplomatically. But you're right. There are a lot of candidates running, and there's a bunch of divergence in terms of ideology, in terms of experience, and sometimes that's what it's going to come down to for voters. But I think you're exactly right. National forces are driving this. We talked last week about how Steve Bannon is coming to Texas. That's a national kind of MAGA movement epicenter. You're seeing, obviously, Donald Trump's weigh in on these races have a significant effect on who wins and who loses. He's essentially endorsed in basically every race except for the Senate race and in the CD2, which is Dan Crenshaw's race. So there's basically a pretty strong Trump imprimatur on Republican Party politics, all the way up and down the ballot. So I think this is going to be basically a pretty conservative primary.